Okay, let's pause it. It's been this live stream. It says I'm live on Facebook. So let me go back to this. Say record. Okay. Hi, everybody. Let me do this. I want to talk to y'all about medications. Hold on. This is not going to be long because I'm not going to be holding anybody too long. People got things to do, people to see, and people to talk to. So, I don't see anything. Hold on, y'all. I still hear this echo. Where's this echo coming from? It says I'm live on Facebook, and I'm just trying to check. And I don't see anything. So I'm gonna just move on. So today's topic is on medications. Are you taking medications for one thing and that medication is counteracting another? So I'm going to focus today on diabetes, focusing on diabetes for a specific reason today. So I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm always starting the story. So there is a person who has been diagnosed with diabetes type 2. There's two types, type 1, type 2. But we're going to talk about type 2 diabetes. So this person is also on blood pressure meds. So they originally, first meds was blood pressure meds. The second one recently is diabetes. And I'm not even sure if this person know what type diabetes they have been classified with. But based on the medication, when I asked what kind of medication is you on, and they gave me a whole list of stuff for one chronic condition, one medical condition, one health condition, diabetes. Okay, so I recognize the meds, and based on the meds, this person is type 2 diabetes. So I want to talk about some of the medications this person has been put on. Thank you, Isaiah. Okay, now I can see somebody. All right, thank you, Jamala. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, wait a minute. This person, number one, when I asked this question, do you know why you're on this medication? Person says, yes. I'm like, do you know what the medication does? And they gave me what they thought it does. Now, one of the things that people don't do, and maybe some people know, maybe some people don't know, but as a patient, there's something called patient rights. Anytime, I don't care who it is, anytime a physician says, and they start writing, I don't have no pen, but they start writing a script for you to take some meds, you have every right as a patient of that physician to say, yo, doc, what's the name of this med? Why am I taking this med? What is it for? And what are the side effects? Those are questions you have a right to ask any physician that's prescribing you some medication to put in your temple. And if you're not asking those questions, why not? That's your right. You need to know what the side effects are. So let's talk about some of the meds that this doctor put this person on. I told you they was on, hiya Leah. I told you they was on blood pressure medication. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about diabetes. So one of the medications they're on, I'm gonna give them to you first, and then I'm gonna tell you about them. One of the medications they on is called Metformin. Another medication they're on is called repaglandinide. Then another OTC they was told to buy from the pharmacy is folic acid. Now, folic acid is a synthetic med. Folic acid is a synthetic med that is normally told to pregnant women. It helps prevent birth defects of the baby. It helps prevent birth defects, mainly spina bifida and anencephaly. However, this person that's been diagnosed with diabetes is told to take folic acid for diabetes. We don't get to this, y'all, because it didn't quite make sense to me. The other medication for diabetes was metformin. Now, this is where I get a little bit agitated. Hi, Karen, Save. Thanks for tuning in. This is where I get a little bit agitated. This person been diagnosed with diabetes. They put on 2 different prescription meds for diabetes that have side effects that counteract. Then they told to go to the pharmacy and buy OTC folic acid, which is a synthetic med of folate, which we get naturally from the foods that we eat. You just got to know what foods to eat. The problem is, this is the overall problem. This person has to have surgery. They can't get the surgery because their hemoglobin is down. That's why they can't get the surgery, because the hemoglobin is down. So before I go into these meds, I had to tell you what the initial CC is, initial problem is. They cannot get the surgery because their hemoglobin is down. Now you may say, Carol, why is that so important? Let me break it up for you. The red blood cell carries the hemoglobin molecule. It's a protein molecule. Inside that hemoglobin protein molecule is something that we all need to breathe. Oxygen, right up there. So if your hemoglobin level is low, what else is low? Oxygen. And if your hemoglobin and your oxygen is low, what's up with your red blood cells? You need those erythrocytes. That means you don't have enough of them. That means this person cannot get surgery until the red blood cell count goes up. So the hemoglobin level and the oxygen level can go up. So this person is believing they're on these meds to help with the hemoglobin. And when I talked to this person today, and it was like, Carol, listen, I'm sick. I don't know what to do, and I need your help. And I had to tell the person, like, listen, I'm not that kind of doctor. I'm in the medical industry. I don't get my homeopathic doctorate degree for another year. I don't know what I can do to help you on that level, but I know what I can do to help you on a holistic level. It doesn't make sense that this person is taking 3 meds for diabetes, and they're thinking, oh, it's for diabetes and it's to help my hemoglobin level up so I can get my surgery. No, folic acid, no, is not going to raise, as far as the knowledge I know of, folic acid is not going to raise the hemoglobin level. It's not. Folate, which is the natural form, is a type of B vitamins, mainly B9. Now, I'm going to get into the foods that we can eat to help increase the red blood cell level, because I'm sure that this friend that I talked to, they're not the only one that may have this issue. Also told this person, diabetes can be preventable. Diabetes can be preventable. And he was like, no. I like, yes, it can. Diabetes it can be preventable. It is a group of diseases that result in, hi, Jeff, how you doing? It is a group of diseases that increase in the blood sugar level, which means you have a lot of sugar in your blood. So I'm gonna give you another example. And this is the example I gave this person. Several years ago, I went to my primary. It was just a routine check. He said, hey, Carolyn. And I said, yes, Doug, because that's how I talk to my doctor. You're pre-diabetic. I'm like, okay. But when he said I was pre-diabetic, was nothing I could say because I did it to myself. And I knew what I did. I knew what I was doing. I was going to Boston Market, having Boston Market sweet potatoes because they're so good every day, like it was an addiction. It's something in them Boston Market sweet potatoes that's addictive. I was going there every day. On top of that, I was getting the cornbread. Plus, I was drinking sweet tea. Now, all of this was prior to me finding out that I have a rare blood condition. This was like years ago, wasn't recently, it was years ago. But once my primary told me I was pre-diabetic and I knew what I was doing, I stopped. I stopped going to Boston Market. I don't drink sweet tea where I was getting it from. It's very rarely that I drink sweet tea. And I don't go to Boston Market having those delicious cornbreads. And I explained to my father, I said, listen, you need to curb how you eat. It requires discipline. When you have to change your nutritional regimen for the benefit of your health, you have to be strong and determined and consistent to change your nutritional regimen and not give in to your cravings that you have for that specific food. So let's talk about the first medication, metformin. That's a medication that's given to individuals for diabetes. However, metformin is documented, and I must say this, is documented. And let me put my disclaimer in here first. The information that I am giving today is for information and educational purposes. It is not to diagnose anybody. It is not to prognose anybody. If you have any of these conditions, such as diabetes, I suggest that you check with your primary healthcare physician or a specialist. Moving on. Metformin depletes vitamin B12 and sometimes folic acid. However, this is the part that shocked me. It can contribute to a progression of peripheral neuropathy. Now, that's the medication this person is on for diabetes. Most people that's on diabetic medication, they're on that for a long period of time. And if they're on that for a long period of time, and this medication, one of the effects is it has a progression of peripheral neuropathy. What? Do the layperson even know what the hell that means? So I told the person, I said, listen, that metformin that you want, this is what it does. It depletes vitamin B12, possibly folic acid, but definitely increase in progression of peripheral neuropathy. Bad. Very bad. Now, peripheral neuropathy is a damage to the nerves located in the central nervous system. Y'all may say, Carol, well, what is the central nervous system? That's your brain and spinal cord. Now let me tell you what else it does. It causes, if y'all want to ask questions or comment, feel free. You can comment, you can ask questions. It causes weakness, numbness, pains in the hands and the feet. However, it interferes with your digestive system. It interferes with your urinary system. It interferes with your circulation. This person is afraid to really go anywhere because of what may happen if they're not home, because they lose control of certain systems because they're on the metformin medication. So when I said you have one medication that can help you in another way, but in another way, it's going to cause damage long-term down the road. Let's talk about the other medication that they on for diabetes. I might be pronouncing this wrong. I'm not perfect. But the other medication is called repaglendinide. This is an anti-diabetic medication to treat type 2 diabetes. Now, that medication is to help control the blood sugar. Anybody that's on medication is to help monitor the sugar that's in the person's blood. When you have too much sugar in your blood, increase, spike naturally, and you keep that spike up. Like my doctor told me years ago, oh, you pre-diabetic, but also knew what to do to keep him from diagnosing me as just diabetic. That's what I didn't want. So when I say that diabetes is preventive, it can be. It really can be preventive. So this is what I suggested to the person I was talking to. I say, listen, your doctor has you on 3 meds for diabetes, and you're thinking one of them is to help increase your red blood cells, because that's the original problem. This person cannot get surgery unless their hemoglobin level spike up, go up. In order for the hemoglobin level to go up, the red blood cell count must go up. Red blood cell come up, hemoglobin level go up, oxygen level go up. That's important in surgery. Oxygen, hemoglobin, very important when a person is getting surgery. However, you got your red blood cell that carries both. Oxygen carried by hemoglobin protein molecule. Hemoglobin protein molecule is inside the red blood cell. Oxygen inside the hemoglobin. Red blood cell carry both. So you need that. Now there's a normal range for all cell counts. White blood cell count, red blood cell count, platelet count, there's normal ranges. So you may like, well, how do they know that the hemoglobin level was too low to a point where this person cannot get surgery? It's all based on the red blood cell count. If the red blood cell count is below normal, like low, your hemoglobin level is going to be low. Your oxygen level will be low. If there's an increase in oxygen, increase in hemoglobin, there's an increase in red blood cells. That's just the way it is. Hi, Trina. How you doing? So since this person CC is, they can't get surgery because they don't have enough hemoglobin. Well, in order for the hemoglobin level to go up, you got to have an increase in red blood cells. Now, instead of them, this is me. Instead of them saying, okay, go to the pharmacy and purchase the OTC, over-the-counter medicine, folic acid, why didn't they just tell a person, go to the pharmacy and get some iron? Why didn't they tell this person that? Iron definitely helps with the red blood cells, but they didn't tell them that. They told them folic acid. Why? I don't get that. That to me makes more sense. Is it anybody in here other than me and Trina in the healthcare industry? Trina, just type in, if you agree with me about the iron, type 1. If you disagree with me about the iron, type 2. Let me know. Now, while she's thinking whether she want to tell me that or not, I'm going to tell you she type 1, so I'm right. That lets me know I'm on the right track. So my issue is, should I or should I not, which I am going to suggest, and I have to choose my words real carefully because people are funny. If I tell somebody like, yo, your doctor's wrong, and I think you should take this, they're going to go back and tell their doctor, well, my friend Carolyn said that you prescribed the wrong medication to me, and you should have prescribed A, B, C, D. I have to be careful with my words. So I have to say to people, I suggest, I can't say their doctor was wrong. I definitely cannot say that. But I can definitely say, based on the knowledge that I have, and you can check with your primary care physician or your specialist, I suggest that you take iron and check with your primary care physician about stopping the other OTC that they suggested. I'm safe for saying that to another friend. Even though they're friends are funny, they still go and repeat what you say, so you still got to be careful with how you talk to friends. And besides, I have a license that I cannot afford to lose. Where can this person get iron naturally from? Naturally. So to increase this person's red blood cell count, they can eat lean meat. They can eat seafood, they can eat poultry, nuts, beans, lentil, and raisins. That's an iron. We're still talking about increasing red blood cells. What else can they do? Naturally, on the holistic side, Concord grapes. Thank you, Trina. What else can they do to increase their red blood cell count? Where can they get folic acid from naturally instead of the pill form? Spinach, asparagus, liver, Brussels sprouts. We're still talking about increasing red blood cells. You have an increase in RBCs, you got an increase in hemoglobin, you got an increase in oxygen. Now this person can get surgery, providing that the numbers are up and within normal range. What else? Vitamin B12. Where can you get vitamin B12 naturally from the nutrients that we eat? Meat, poultry, fish, eggs, milk, cheese. Vitamin B12. Next is copper. What does copper do? Copper helps the red blood cells access the iron that they need to replicate. That's what copper does. It helps the red blood cells. Spirulina, thank you, Trina, that's another one. Shellfish, whole grain foods, chocolate, nuts, seeds. So remember what I said about copper. Copper helps the red blood cells access the iron, which increase the red blood cells so the red blood cells can multiply. When the red blood cells multiply, it's going to increase the hemoglobin, increase the oxygen. They're just looking at the hemoglobin because it carries the oxygen. Next is vitamin A, retinol. Where can we get vitamin A naturally? What does vitamin D do? Vitamin A does. It helps the iron, this key's my way, get to the red blood cells. It helps the iron gets to the red blood cells. Where can we get vitamin A naturally? Fish, eggs, liver, orange, yellow, vegetables, tomato products. I felt as though this was something that needed to be talked about because there's a lot of people, millions of people across the world who live with diabetes. And I have had one person that was close to me who died, and they had diabetes. So for me, it's important that this topic be talked about. I want to share something else with you. Vitamin B6 helps synthesize the protein and red blood cells. Synthesize meaning produce. That's what it means. Synthesize means produce red blood cells. Vitamin E also helps, and that helps protect blood cells from damage. Vitamin E helps protect the blood cells from damage. So these are all the things that I'm going to suggest, and I'm going to suggest to my friend to help increase their red blood cells. So I asked them, did you see a nutritionist? They said, yeah. I said, what did the nutritionist tell you? And they told me what the nutritionist said. I said, but did they tell you what to do with that stuff? They said, no. I said, so where are you at right now? And they was like, Carol, I don't know where I'm at. I'm just scared. They're scared. There were some pictures that I wanted to show you, but I couldn't get on when I wanted to get on and do this because I'm actually on the radio, even though I'm live on Facebook. I had some technical difficulties getting on the radio. But if you got any value out of this, and you know somebody who suffers with diabetes and they on all these meds, especially metformin. It's saying metformin is one of the meds that is commonly prescribed, because I keep hearing metformin, people that's on it. And the thing about with metformin is that a person can lose control of some systems and have unfortunate things happen to them. That's what I'm gonna leave it. So I'm going to log out. I like to do what I do best and thank the individuals who have came on with me live and taken the time out to give me an ear. And I want to start off with thank you, Trina. Thank you, Trina, for engagement and giving other suggestions of Conquer Grapes and Spirulina. Aaliyah, that's exactly what I was talking about. Aaliyah says, like loose bowels, yes. And it can happen to a person anywhere when they're on that medication. That can be very embarrassing for that person. It can be very shameful for that person. Aaliyah says she know what happens. Trina says explosive. Aaliyah says really ugly. Yes. Trina and Aaliyah, thank you for your input. Jeff, thank you for tuning in. Karen, thank you for tuning in. Isaiah, thank you for tuning in. Damola, thank you for tuning in. Thank you everybody for tuning in. If you catch this on the replay, just type replay and share the information with other people, especially if they are on these two type medications that I have shared with you, especially metformin. Also share the broadcast with, thank you. Also share the broadcast with them about how do you increase your red blood cells naturally through the nutrients that we put in our body. Take care, everybody. I will see y'all on my next live stream. And Radio Land, don't go nowhere. You have been listening to the Let's Talk with Carolyn radio show on Sadior Radio. You could tune in with us on Alexa. You could tune in with us on the Sadior Radio Station on your Android or your iTunes cell phone, smartphone. Take care, everybody. I will see you on my next live stream. Everybody that tuned in with me, thank you for your time. Thank you for your ear. Thank you for listening. Take care, everybody. Enjoy. Radio Land, thank you for tuning in with me today. I appreciate you tuning in. Take care. Talk to y'all next Tuesday, same time, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Take care, everybody.